Imagine walking into your boss's office and giving notice because your writing has become your primary revenue stream, or your podcast is successful enough that you can quit your day job, or maybe having your marketing on autopilot so you can spend your time on the art career you love rather than on marketing. Are you a creative person who's great at what you do, but marketing makes you freeze? You're not alone. I help passionate, purpose-driven creatives overcome fear, find their brand voice, and build a marketing strategy that works for them. Oh yeah, I also make it easy and painless. It's never too late to grow the business you've been dreaming about. Book an introductory call with me, Rob Southgate, at southgatesmallbusiness.com today. And let's take the pain out of marketing together. Welcome to Alley Chats. I am your host, Rob Southgate. Today I have with me Isaac Popovich. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Good. I mean, it's not that difficult, but you never know. You might have been like, no, it's Popovich.
Yeah.
So Isaac, welcome to the show. I'm super excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate this.
So Isaac has a affiliation with other people you've heard on this show. And I mean, going back to when it started like 5 years ago. I've had the team from Gorilla. Oh my God. It goes back further than that. I'm going back to when we did Live at the Blue Box. I had Ben, who runs Gorilla, on Live at the Blue Box probably 13 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So we have some ties here. So Isaac is a creator under Gorilla Publishing. And I'm so excited to talk to you because I really like what you're doing. I love your artwork. But I want to get to know a little bit more about you. So let's start out by tell people who you are, kind of give them a little background. Let's kind of set the table on this.
Absolutely. Thank you. My name's Isaac Popovich. I am a travel nurse right now, currently living in St. Louis. And in my free time, I make creepy cartoons.
As one would, yes. So, travel nurse, huh? How long have you been doing that?
Oh, geez. It's almost coming up on the year now.
Wow, do you like it?
I do, actually. Currently in St. Louis right now. So it's not that far from my house here in Indiana.
Yeah.
But it's crazy to think it's coming up on a year since I packed up all my stuff and kissed my parents goodbye and said, going to St. Louis.
Gonna go travel. So if you're working in hospitals, you're working obviously around people that are sick. Do you get inspiration for your creepy comics from this?
Not as much as you would think.
Okay.
I get it everywhere. It's the way my ADHD mind works. I'll be watching something with my parents, my friends. I'm notorious for having a little sketchbook and pencil in the wherever I go, especially if I'm watching a movie. Of course, not in the theaters because they think I'm probably taking notes to leave.
Right.
But I just am. All my friends know when I am writing my sketchbook or little notepad, they know, oh, he's got something. But
Yeah.
I get inspiration from the hospital if I look at something and I'm like, that would be great.
Yeah, right. Or there's a little image that's going to be used in something. The reason I ask, so I have a friend that works in hospitals. I believe he's a nurse. But one time I brought up creepy stuff and oh my God, the ghost stories and that came pouring out of this guy that he has experienced at the hospital. So that's why I thought maybe there was something there. And then there's what'd you say?
I have had a few experiences where I was like, okay, this is creepy.
Yeah, right. The other one is there's a comic that I reference once in a while. I think I've done it on this show. Have you ever heard of the comic Duplex Planet?
I have not actually.
Okay. I'm going to give you homework. I only have like 3 issues. I don't know if they did any more than that, but do a little dive out there. Try to find the comic Duplex Planet. So
Okay.
it was made by a guy, and I don't know his name off the top of my head, but he made these comics where he was actually working in a nursing home. And he was taking the stories that the patients were saying, he was writing them out and then making them into graphic form.
Wow,
And it's amazing. Some of them are these beautiful stories where they're like talking about like, oh, well, when I had my first love, it was blank, 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 or my kids grew up and they did blank, blank, blank. And then others are, you've got somebody that maybe has dementia and they're talking about like, and then I shot Hitler with a snake gun and
oh
two
man.
giant donuts attacked out of nowhere. And you're going, what? And how fun is that? Where you read this beautiful love story, then the next thing is this bizarre thing, and you're like, and he's illustrating this, and it's just great. So I think you would really connect with that.
You're on my interest already on that.
so you do these comics. What is the name of your book?
So currently I've got a good amount of books out, but the three I want to talk about today, they're called Nickels for Nightmares.
There we go.
Just did our third issue of it, actually. Now, it was meant to be a yearly thing. It's just nothing but one page horror stories, comic strips.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and I originally, that wasn't my plan when I started doing this. It was write a comic book ongoing series, but one day I just made a comic strip. I'm like, let me see how much I can put one story in one page. And it's been getting the most views on my Instagram. They've been getting the most likes. I've gotten a lot of traction from it. And one of my best friends who's huge into comics said, well, why don't you focus on that? He's like, you're pretty good at it. The way you come up with all these ideas, you can get them out quicker. And, I just stayed interested in the one pagers. And plus I view it as a challenge.
Yeah.
It's also kind of humbling to think back in the day with the Syndicate and all that, the newspaper, their artists would be given this one page and they would have to tell a complete story and get the reader in like maybe 4, 5, or 6 panels sometimes. And it's humbling because I think to myself, how can I tell this concise story, but yet get my point across? So I do challenging part of it.
It's so interesting. I mean, like I'm looking at, I didn't realize that was what the project was. I'm so glad that I've had you on so we could talk about this because I love anthology series. Okay. I love short story. I love that type of format. And I got obsessed one night. There was I think it was on Netflix or Hulu. It was the like 30-second horror movies. Have you seen this?
I have heard about that.
Yeah, it's like these. It's like they got to tell this horror thing in a minute or something, and they're great because it's like, oh, here's a setup, something weird, boom, you're there, and I really like you. You think it would be easy? Not easy, at least not easy to make something good. So yours, I only read the collab was the one I read, which is on your Instagram, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Now that I know that it's called Nickels for
Nightmares.
Nickels for Nightmares. I'm gonna have to get these. These are fantastic.
You can actually. Unfortunately, I do not have an Etsy store or anything right now.
Okay.
One little fun fact: I don't do any digital editing on my comics at all.
Okay.
Besides just play with the contrast when I scan them in. But other than that, my comics are completely hand drawn. Everything is hand lettered.
Wow.
Well, the point is, I do that because I am terrible with technology.
Okay.
So that's one reason why I don't have an Etsy store yet or a web store, because I'm not the most tech savvy person. And I just want to make sure I kind of get my ducks in a row, because whenever I sell people my comic, I want to make sure they get the best experience they can get.
Absolutely.
Especially in this economy, I view it like that's their hard-earned money. I want to give them the best I can give them. That's why I kind of delay things. If a comic page is okay, but it's not up to my standards, I just flat out honest saying, hey, it's not up to my standards. I want to do something better.
Sure. Do you sell physical copies like at cons?
So of Nickels for Nightmares, yes. I haven't found a publisher yet. I'm hoping one day I might. For Tombstone Toonies, I would like to get Tombstone Toonies published. But the whole idea of Tombstone Toonies was they were meant to be for free. Because I've had people message me saying, I love your stuff. I can never find your books, which the only place you can find my books right now is at Happy Day Comics in Hammond, Indiana. They do carry
There
all
we
my.
go. Okay, so Happy Day Comics in Hammond, Indiana. We're going to put a link to that in the show notes so people can order them, because you don't have an Etsy shop, but I'm sure they can order from a comic shop.
I'm not sure if they have a website. I'm not exactly sure on that.
Okay, give me the name again. It's Happy
Day Comics.
Happy Day Comics with a C, comics, or comics with
Yep.
a Happy Day Comics. Oh, Hammond, Indiana. I found them.
Yep.
Yeah, they're on my comic shop. Here we go. They have a website. That's not working.
I've been shopping from them all these years and I didn't know that.
Well, you know what? Regardless, we'll make sure that we get links to Happy Day Comics in here, whatever it's going to be, to try to help them out and draw some attention. And hopefully, if nothing else, when people are cruising through Hammond, they'll stop in and they'll buy some of your books, or meet you at the cons and buy books there. I love this. I think your stuff is great. I love the artwork. I love the concept. Now, is horror your thing? Like, are you just like, yeah, I love drawing these comics, but sometimes I do superheroes. Sometimes I do, cooking comics. Is it horror? Are you just like drawn to it?
I'll say 80%, if not 85, 90% of what I do is horror. I am working on another series right now, actually. It's very under wraps right now. It's called Psycho Nurse. And I forgot where I got that name from. I think somebody suggested it to me as a joke, but it's supernatural and horror.
Yeah.
It's like a mix of both. And it's almost like a senses shock because, again, the style is cartoony, but yet the storyline, some of it is horrific, to say the least. So I do think that's the few people I have shown, snippets of Psycho Nurse, like the concept art, the characters, the storyline. I've gotten some pretty positive responses out of it. I probably almost as much, if not more, than what I've been getting from Tombstone Toonies. And right now that's my main bread and butter. But
yeah,
Psycho Nurse, it's gonna be like newspaper style strips, but it's gonna be an ongoing story.
I love it. I think it's very cool.
I got it mapped out already from book 1 to book 2 to book 3. Like, for an example, the third book's called Black Metal, and then it just says Psycho Nurse Part 2, because black metal's like the heaviest. I'm inspired by heavy metal too. You can probably tell by some of my art in there. But black metal's like the darkest, heaviest form of metal, and that was meant to reflect in book 2.
Yeah. How long are the books generally? If you're doing one pages, how many stories are they getting?
Oh, wow. In Nickels for Nightmares, it's a 24-page story, which the 4 pages when you're printing it is front and back of the cover, and then the back and inside of the back of the cover. So you're getting 20 stories. Where
Wow.
book 2, I added 4 more stories, so 24. And the third one's actually very interesting, because I usually list Nickels for Nightmares based off the year, because they were only meant to be once a year comics, which whenever I get asked what should I check out from your work, I always recommend Nickels for Nightmares or Tombstone Toonies. It's a taste of everything.
Yeah.
But it was interesting about book 3 came out the same year book 2 did, 2020 issue 2025. It's called 1347, and it's based in medieval times.
Okay. Not the restaurant, but actual medieval times.
The actual medieval times, although I should have done one in a restaurant, actually. That would have been funny. But I used 1347 because that's the year the Black Death hit Europe. So I just got this kooky idea, and I said, you know what? Let's do a little one shot thing. And in some of those stories, it's actually, oh wow, that book's almost 30 pages, but it's not one pagers. There are some stories that are 4 pages. Some stories are 2 pages. You get a little mix of everything. In fact, I think that one has one of my creepiest stories I ever wrote, where people are looking at it.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
So one is called Pneumonia. It's about this priest who gets lost in the water. He sinks to the bottom, and you think he's in. it's very open to interpretation. Pneumonia. It's a silent comic. So, which in Nichols for Nightmares, there are some silent comics. There's no text bubbles. You just go off of what you're
Yeah.
seeing, leave it for interpretation. And at the bottom of the sea, he's just walking around like you can't tell if he's alive or dead. And then at the end, he meets this entity underwater, whether it's some ancient sea monster, some ancient being, and he just worships it at the end. Or just crazy. It's very open to interpretation. Not gonna lie.
Sure.
I was not in the I was not in the happiest point of my life when I made it. So I thought, you know what, instead of me sitting around moping, I'm just gonna make some comics.
Sounds good, man. Sounds real good. Now, you said that you're in the new Cryptic Closet. Now, is that the one that is coming out, or are you in the last issue?
The one that is coming out. I think it actually just got released, actually, Cryptic Closet 4.
Okay, great. Because I love those. I think those are fantastic. I have not picked up the new one. Do you have, what's your story like in there?
My story is called The Statue, and it was based off a little childhood fear I had. So you have this this patient. It does take place in a hospital, ironically. And actually, that character is now in my Tombstone Toons. He's one of the main mascots, Billy the Unlucky Patient. Billy.
Oh, nobody wants to be Billy the Unlucky Patient. That's awful.
Actually, it's either him or Ozzy the Unlucky Emo, or the Mischievous Emo Kid. Like, those are probably my two most popular right now.
I love both of those. Great names.
Yeah. But Billy, I guess it's Billy's official debut before he was in Tombstone Toonies, so I never realized that. He wakes up and he's got pneumonia, and being the idiot he is, kind of, he picks up a cigarette, because this is meant to take place when you can smoke in hospitals.
Okay.
And he's just looking out the window smoking, and he sees this beautiful statue, but every time he looks at it, it just either looks at him or it just moves.
Yeah.
And yeah, eventually gets closer and closer to the window, and I don't want to give away too much, because
don't give it away.
Yeah,
don't give it away.
It was based off a fear I had as a kid. My neighbors had an angel statue, and I'd wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning and I'd see it, and I could have sworn that thing moved.
Right.
So that I just kind of took that and translated it into a story, kind of.
So that angel statue is behind you right now, right?
Unfortunately, no. This was back when I was growing up in Griffith.
Sure. So for artists, who would you say are the biggest inspirations for your art?
Whew, that's hard.
I didn't say it's an easy show.
Well, I definitely am inspired by the Fleischer brothers, Max Fleischer, the guys who made boot cartoons and all that.
Isaac, I see it in your art. I see that style of art. It's the eyes, the motion to what you're drawing. So that is a great call. Fleischer Brothers, absolutely.
Fleischer Brothers with a little mix of Frank Miller and Todd McFarlane.
Sure.
I do a lot of my hatching inspired by Todd McFarlane, because when he inks, it is on the next level what he does.
Yeah.
But I also spot a lot of black too in my comics, like Frank Miller did.
Yeah. Yeah, playing with light and dark. I love it. Fleischer Brothers, though, what a great one. I'm sure you've played or been a fan of the art from Cuphead, right?
Oh yeah, love Cuphead.
I love the artwork in that, and not enough people play in that arena. So, it seems like they all make anime faces or Disney faces. And now Disney faces look like anime faces. They don't look like Disney anymore. Going back to that Fleischer stuff is really interesting. And I love the format that you're working in too. Now, what about, we're going to get out of comics for a second. What about metal? You said you're a big metal fan. What are the 3 bands everybody should be checking out in metal?
Ooh, we talking current or?
You can give me 3. I don't care the first 3 that come to mind. And you know what? I'm going to give you a pass, because an hour from now, you might have 3 different ones. That's okay. It's the ones that pop off your head right now.
Well, number 1 for me is Metallica.
Okay.
No, I've listened to them since I was in 8th grade, and I've followed them ever since, even though they're already working on Death Magnetic and all that. Second band is Bold for My Valentine for sure. And the third band that comes to mind to me, which is kind of, it's basically currently what I'm listening to right now. I would say probably Pantera.
Oh, wow. That's a pull. So very cool, man. So any of you metalheads out there, now you have 3 bands that you got to put on your playlist when you're looking at Isaac's comics. Get inspired by them. Get into it. So Isaac, what have you got coming up next? I know you mentioned you're working on your
I don't
Psycho Nurse.
They are not posted yet, but I don't mind sharing them at all. I got, this one's not done yet, but I have 5 brand new Tombstone Toonies right here.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So that's really interesting. Hold one up. We're not going to spoil, but I just want to see you draw like that and you scan in, and that's it, right?
I don't mind showing one at all. Tell you what, I'll have you pick. You just tell me which one sounds interesting to you.
I just want you to pick. I just want you to hold one up because I want people to see you're doing that. You're just scanning it in. There's no digital play with it. Look at that.
Especially you get the old school cartoony thing right there.
Yeah, there it is. I love that.
I
love that. What would you say?
That is Ozzy.
Oh, that's Ozzy. That is fantastic. Now, see, Ozzy is absolutely a marketable character for you. I mean, I just fell in love with it right there.
I just doodled him out of the blue one day, and it's funny because I draw my mascot a lot, Baron Von Gooley. He's my mascot. He's
okay.
But Ozzy, and my 2 most popular is Ozzy and Crepe the cat, which I don't do Crepe enough. I should. But I just drew them out of the blue one day. I'm like, whatever, just 2 new characters. Because I love making new characters. That's one of the fun things about cartooning.
Yeah.
Plus, it's less pressure. You don't have to be anatomically accurate. They're cartoons, which I love.
Yeah.
I had a mini comic of Crepe, and he sold out like that. And I'm like, really?
Wow.
But one thing I am trying to work on in my comics is I have cartoony, but I'm also trying to learn how to draw real horrific horror illustrations. Again, for that, I don't want to call it plunder shock, but maybe I guess that contrast. You see this cartoony, funny character, and you see this horrific monster. You're like, ugh.
Yeah.
This one's actually a good example because you have Ozzy right here.
Yeah.
Like pretty much what he's known to do is just test the waters. He's a little troublemaker, hence the reason I made his hair all spiky like evil.
Right.
And then you have this thing that he runs into.
Yeah.
Still cartoony, but still a little creepy. And then you just see all this.
Well, it's kind of like if H.P. Lovecraft was illustrated by the Fleischer brothers. That's what I see there, which I now am obsessed with. I love that.
Thank you. Actually, I did try and kind of go for a little Lovecraftian thing. That's actually 2 of people I am inspired by when it comes to writing. Because I'm going to be honest, my writing skills, I'm really trying to work on the writing skills. Because to me, writing is a huge part of comics. So you can have amazing art, but if the story's not lining up, it just, you know what I mean? It's got to be a nice balance of both art and story.
Yeah.
2 people I'm no surprise, probably one of them, Edgar Allan Poe for sure. I love his short stories.
Sure.
H.P. Lovecraft. Those are probably my 2 biggest influences.
Have you ever traveled and gone to like the Poe Museum?
I have not, but it is definitely on my list. Right, it's on one of my lists.
So they do a festival, Poe Festival, and this might be something you're really interested in trying to be a part of at some point. When they do their festival, rather than doing direct interpretations of Poe, they have an award show for things. They give awards for things that have shown up that are reflective of Poe. So, like if you write one of your stories and it's got essentially inspired by the Telltale Heart, to them, the inspiration of Poe in it is what they're looking for. So they'll it's really, really cool. Like there'll be books that you're like, well, it's they used a style that Poe wrote, or they used a character that Poe wrote, or they used an overall theme, and it ends up in the award show rather than being a direct one-to-one. I love it. And I think for you, that would be really cool. I mean, you could get a lot of exposure for that. And I see it in what you're doing.
Really?
Yeah, I think you could. I think you could work on something with that. I'll try to remember to send you a link. I actually interviewed the one woman who runs the Poe Museum, and she talked all about this. I'll see if I can find a link for that and send it to you.
It's funny you mention that because one of mine I did right here is kind of, I was inspired by Poe, which I don't mind showing a little bit of it. It's going to get posted soon. This is one I did kind of inspired by. It's kind of Edgar Allan Poe. It's called The Bed Sheets.
Yeah.
And it's a kooky concept. I actually got inspired by it from a music video. It's about, you wake up one day, it's like, I don't know, 3 a.m. because every creepy thing happens at 3 a.m.
Of course. Right.
And actually, there's Billy again, except he's not in the hospital. He's finally home, except now more stuff happens to him. But there's Billy right there. He's another one of the mascots from Tombstone. Yeah. And you can tell it's him because his hair always goes over his
down the one side. Yeah. I saw it on your Instagram.
Good old Billy. But what's interesting about this one is I actually did a little poem at the end.
Oh, very cool.
And one other cool thing I think is I do all my hand lettering. I don't do anything digital. Because when people read this, I want them to get the idea this was hand drawn. There was no digital. And when doing, I'm not against digital art at all because I think you can get some amazing results with it. But it's just an excuse that I know how to use it. Why I do things like this.
Well, I'm a huge indie guy. Okay, in fact, my mug here says, "The future is indie."
I do,
and we are. My wife and I are old zinesters, and if you pay attention to this show, you'll hear either zine things come up or I interview actual zinesters on here. You, sir, when I'm looking at your comics, those look like zines to me.
Really?
Where you're well, because you're doing everything yourself. No, zines are a lot of different things. I have a friend who's been very successful in zines, if you can call it success, doing zine comics. And I mean, they've made a documentary about him. He's got hardcover books based about his stuff. I mean, it's very cool. When I look at your comics, even though they look like comics, they remind me of the fact that you're doing everything. That's a zinester mentality. That's an indie mentality. I'm doing the lettering. I'm doing the inking. I'm doing the copying. That's really cool. You could be showing it like Cake in Chicago, and you'd probably do extremely well.
Actually, I have done some mini comic zines. They're the same thing, right?
Yeah, it's all the same.
Okay, I have done it, and I don't have it with me. I'm actually working on 3 mini comics right now for Summerween. But my first ever, it's funny you mentioned zines. My first ever thing I made was not Tombstone Toonies. It wasn't I had the ideas for all this, but on my first, I guess foot in the door with this, it was mini comics.
Yeah. Well, zines aren't just mini comics. It can be anything. It can literally be anything. But yeah, mini comics are definitely associated.
I would agree with you on that. I do have some zines, and one thing I love about zines is you don't, because you can probably imagine some days you're exhausted. You don't want to commit to a 200-page graphic novel at the end.
Right.
They are nice, they're awesome. I will always love graphic novels and comics, but it's just nice to lay down and read a zine or a mini comic and just something to unwind. And I guess that's why I do these too, because you don't need to really commit to my stuff. Like, for example, if you get Nichols for Nightmares 1347, you don't need to read 2024, 2025. You can just jump on in with my stuff.
Right.
For Psycho Nurse, you will have to follow.
That's going to be a story. Okay.
It's going to be an ongoing series. And my first ever series I came up with that which I am going to be making a series pretty soon, is called Terror from the Inkwell. That was my first comic series. I actually have 10 of them, and they're all different stories, but I got at first I was going to call it Tales from the Inkwell because those old school cartoons, they would use a
yeah.
But I saw the word terror when I was watching some. I was like, you know what? If these are horror stories in this style, it should be Terror from the Inkwell.
Love it.
You have the mascot Baron Von Gulli. He's kind of like my crypt keeper. You always see him, and it's funny that my friends love about it. Like, one story is about a psychotic grandma. And on the back of the book, you always see him in the corner, and it's a description of what the story is, but he always dresses something different. Like, yeah, he's always got his long coat, his top hat, and you probably saw him on Instagram. He's got the beard and everything, and the mustache.
Yeah, he's on your Instagram. I've seen him.
What's funny is some stories he's in a different outfit. One is an astronaut story. He's in an astronaut suit with the helmet, and one with the grandma. He's actually got the grandma wig on and the outfit. And one story he's dressed as a doctor. So he's kind of like my kooky crypt keeper.
Fantastic. I love him. I'm looking at your pictures here. And yeah, I really love this. I think you've done a great job. And in fact, I'm going to tell everybody again, you're going to look in the show notes. I'm going to put the link to the comic shop that carries Isaac's stuff. But on top of that, follow Isaac on Instagram, watch where he's going to be. And that way you can go and you can buy his stuff directly from him, supports the artist, supports this whole movement. And I absolutely love this. Isaac, I am so happy that we met. I'm so happy I had you on. And I'm so happy that Julio from Guerrilla Publishing sent you my way. I'm going to have to send Julio a note right after this and tell him how much I enjoy this and how much I love your comics. So thank you, Isaac. Thank you so much.
You can read them for free.
I like that. I like that too. I like that too. All right. Thank you, Isaac. Good luck with all of this.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.